Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Gymwright Live podcast. I am your host, Markus, and it's Friday, guys. It's a beautiful day, and we are going to get into something really cool today. One of my favorite subjects, and that is sales. And today we're going to break down a method that we've created over the course of many, many years in working with gym owners all over the world. We call the Gymwright Prescriptive Consult Method. And the beauty of this whole system is that it really kind of overcomes a lot of the fears and aversions that we found that a lot of gym owners have around sales, because not only does it actually help you increase conversions, it also helps you increase retention while actually all feeling really good about sales. So I'm excited to dig into this with you. It's just going to be me today. So I'll do my very best to keep you guys engaged the whole way through. Yeah, this is, like I said, guys, this is a one-on-one intro model that we've refined over, literally tens of thousands of actual intros. This is, and not only in our clients' boxes, but our own boxes. And I want to preface this episode by saying, I do firmly believe that a one-on-one intro session is the best way to not only sell a membership, but to also correctly frame up perceived value around their unique why, which is also, helps with retention. But I also know that not everyone is in a position to implement a system like this for a variety of different reasons. It could be you're not there yet from a staffing standpoint, or schedule doesn't quite allow. So it may not be the method for you right now. You can still use the principles from this method and apply it to a variation of this, because you can still hit all of this in the combination of, phone call or a before and after class. So stick with me, follow through. I think there's quite a bit to gain from this. So let's dig in. So first and foremost, why should a gym owner care about this? I'll put it very, very simply for you. No sales equals no business. End of story. If you have issues with sales, or you still think sales is an ugly thing or a necessary evil, grow up. Not only are you hindering your ability to grow as a business and provide better careers for staff and better programs and facilities for your members, but you are literally doing your entire local community a massive disservice by not doing a good job of making sure that everyone who expresses interest in your services that you can actually help and is a good fit for you understands what you do and how it can change their life if they wanted to. Let's face it, you got into this business because you are passionate about helping people and because you can change people's lives through your programs. Remember, we do far more than just provide a quality workout for people. When we do our job right, we make fitness fun for people for the first time for most. And these people have never seen fitness as fun or enjoyable. As you guys know, most people have a completely screwed up understanding of what proper fitness is or how nutrition actually works because of how we're socialized. Our society does not do a good job of teaching us around about fitness, about nutrition and health and wellness. And when we do our jobs right, people actually fall in love with fitness and living a healthier, more fulfilling life for the first time. That's why this is so powerful. And they're able to achieve things that they never knew were possible. They become better leaders, better teachers, bosses, parents, and you are legitimately changing their life. You will directly affect their circle of influence, their kids, and so on. So just remember why you're doing this and how powerful and meaningful these interactions are. These are people who have expressed either a need or something they need help with, or a concern they have about their health, or, hey, I'm tired of not being able to play with my kids, or I want to be able to play with my grandkids. This is real shit, guys, that we're able to help people with. So sack up if you still have an issue with sales, and I'm going to show you how to do it in a way that does not feel salesy at all, because all good sales is actually identifying where your potential client is, what's important to them, and then being able to line up what you do to that why, and helping them actually understand the value. And when you're able to do that effectively, it's very easy for someone to make now an educated decision on whether or not you're a good fit, because you've been able to figure out, okay, what's important to you, why it matters, and then lining up, yep, well, that's exactly what we do, and here's some examples and how we can help you do that. And you're able to see if it's a fit or not. So I wanted to just start by saying all that. Another thing here, having a really high quality sales process, I think, I think is a really important thing from the standpoint of, you're trying to be perceived as specialists in your field and local market, which, and that you legitimately care. And that increases your perceived value, not to mention allows you to leave a high valued impression with everyone who contacts your business, whether they buy or not. You're doing it right when you get referrals from people who've tried you out, who weren't a good fit, but they sent you a friend or family member, right? Because remember, this is not about talking someone into a membership or just getting everyone to buy. Get your head out of the, I'm just trying to have the highest conversion possible, or how many members did I gain? It's about how many quality and appropriate members did I actually gain, not just volume, because all that's doing is you're bringing people who maybe aren't a fit for your culture, or their values don't line up with what you sell, which means you're inherently going to have a retention or a culture issue, right? But what I'm getting at here with this example is when you have a high quality sales process, that someone who's legitimately interested in your gym, who may be a good fit, comes in and tries you out, and you discover that you're maybe not the best fit for them, or they discover that and they say, you know what, thanks for helping me, but I'm not sure this is the right fit. Great, that's totally fine. We know we're not a good fit for everyone. But then 2 months, 6 months later, you get a referral in. And I'm giving you guys a specific example here from me. Like when I used to do these intros at Active, I would do these, and even when someone was the good fit, I made sure, damn, this place is awesome. If you are into CrossFit and getting in shape and feeling good and having fun, this would be the only place I would go to. And I would actually get referrals from people that I did intros with, where someone would come in, they're like, oh yeah, I was referred by Steve. And I'm like, Steve who? And then Steve so-and-so. And I'm like, Steve, he's not a member here. Are you sure it was from here? He's like, oh yeah, no. They aren't a member here. Steve did an intro with you like 6 months ago and was just so blown away by it. It wasn't a good fit for him with where he was at with work and the schedule and all that. But he was telling a whole group about you at a group of us about you at a party, and said, you guys got to check him out, and literally passed your information along. That's how you know you're doing it right. So think of it as an opportunity to really become, like I said, that thought leader, that specialist in your local market. The other thing, or side effect, and really the reason it allows you to build a stronger relationship faster. Remember, we are in the relationship business. This is your very first date with someone, and you want to make sure you leave a high quality first impression, or make that high quality first impression, because what you guys do and what we do in a gym, when we do it right, is of extremely high value to people. And this, after all is said and done, all comes back to the relationship and managing perceived value over time, right? We want to continue to build on it. We don't want to have this great first impression, the service sucks. The service we provide in our boxes is pretty epic compared to what most people have experienced when it comes to a gym. So we're inherently already going to be delivering something pretty awesome. And when you can start the relationship off on the right foot, and it's about them and what really matters to them, you're going to have a much higher likelihood that not only that they're going to sign up, but they're going to stick around for a really long time. And lastly, obviously this is going to be, it allows you to explain what we do in a way that they actually understand the value, which again, higher perceived value and so on. So anyway, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to kind of start at the top and work my way down. And the example I'll use today, because the specifics do matter. And so I'm going to kind of take an avatar, and I'll say, let's say this is a guy who is, a mid-30s professional, let's just say tried some things before, brand new to CrossFit. Okay. And again, this is the example I'll give you is specifically for CrossFit, because that is the majority of people that we serve. But understand, if you run anything that is in this service model, this exact same thing applies. So you can just swap the words out with whatever your jargon is around your method or whatnot. So anyway, here we go. So first and foremost, I'm going to go kind of phase by phase. So I'll kind of break it down, and then I'll give you some examples, and then we'll move on. So the very first step is about really getting to know them, building trust, and being relatable. So let's say someone shows up and it's like, hey, Steve, what's going on? Welcome in. You go through formalities and make sure that the waiver's been completed and all that. And hey, these are the expectations of what we're going to do today. Hey, my intention today is to really get to know you and learn about your background and training and get a chance to see you move. We're going to have some fun today, and then see if we're a good fit for you and helping you accomplish your goals. Is that fair? Yes, that's fair, right? So they're going to say, yeah, cool, awesome. And, some people like to put like a commitment, like, hey, my commitment is, now that you're here, a commitment to, helping you get results. I'm going to treat you just like a member because that's what we do here. We're coaches. Like, you can put a little bit of a shtick in there, but don't get too carried away. Make it seem really, really, really easy to get started with it, right? So it's not this like big, heavy opening. So the way that I would like to do that is I usually would start with like a quick facility tour, right? So if I know, for example, someone's new to CrossFit, and even if they're not, and by the way, I'll give you guys some guidance on people who are actually experienced CrossFitters versus someone who's brand new to CrossFit. Again, for the CrossFit version, that you're going to follow the same method, but there's going to be some differences. So remember, this is for someone who's brand new. So what I would start with is something like, hey, this is your first time in a CrossFit gym, right? Well, let me show you around. And the very first thing I like to do when I start the quote unquote tour, this is not, by the way, really about the tour as much as it is like, let's just get moving and walk around. I will usually walk towards any other staff member and introduce them right away. And the key when you do the introduction, make sure you use the name of the person that you're with. And remember, you're trying to create a velvet rope effect. It's like they just came into your VIP room. You're going to make them feel special. They're your special guest, and you're going to show them around, and you're going to make sure that they feel welcome. So take that framework into play throughout this entire thing. So whether it's a member or a staff member, I would usually try to introduce anyone who's appropriate. But basically, I get right into, so notice it looks a little bit different than the gyms that I know you've trained. I know you said you've done kind of your own thing over the last 5-10 years. So notice there's not a lot of equipment here. The way that we do things here, we use our human body, the way it's designed to move, blah, 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 blah. Really, really quick. Don't get heavy into what is CrossFit and the difference and how many GHDs you have. None of that shit matters. This is really just a segue for you to get into. So tell me a little bit about your previous training experience or what you're currently doing. I know you said you're currently going to the gym, 3-4 days a week off and on. Tell me a little bit about that, and have them just tell you a little bit about what they're either currently doing or what they've previously done. And remember, right now we're being understanding because we're building trust and we're trying to be relatable. This is not about criticizing what they're doing or, oh, I see why that's not working for you, or no wonder you're here. Don't be an asshole. Be cool. And once they tell you about what, ask them what they like about it, and shut up and listen to what they tell you. Then ask them about, what about your current or previous training program wasn't getting you the results? Obviously, you're here now. You're looking to explore something a little bit different, and I'm excited to share what we do here. But what was it about that wasn't working for you? And then again, have them tell you. And again, we're just understanding, yep, I totally understand that, or yep, I hear that a lot. Even if they're telling you some crazy shit and you're like, yeah, no wonder this isn't working for you. Like, I can't wait to show you what we do. Just don't make them feel stupid. Don't make them feel bad. Remember, we're not trying to be elitists here. We're trying to build a meaningful relationship. The next piece, once I get an understanding of what they've done previously or are currently doing and what they liked about it and what wasn't working for them about it, I would go usually then switch right into, hey, and if you and our athletes accomplish their goals, tell me a little bit about your understanding of CrossFit. And listen, and do not get defensive, even if it's totally off. Guys, this is where, most people, when they first walk into a CrossFit gym, you say, so what, if you ask them, what's your understanding of CrossFit? You're going to hear some crazy stuff, right? And you have to understand, people don't know what it is. People make really quick snap judgments based on something they heard, or, isn't it just a bunch of really fast weightlifting? You go as hard as you can, as fast as you can every time. And you're just like, wow, okay. Well, the key here is that whatever they tell you, respond with something like, that's not too bad. And then get right into explaining, constantly varied functional movement performed at high intensity based on the answers to the above questions. The key to this being, This is one of the most important parts, and this is probably one of the things I see done incorrectly most frequently, is that they'll go right into, well, let me tell you what it actually is, or, oh, that's totally off. CrossFit is constant varied functional movements performed at high intensity and back in blah, blah, blah. Coach Greg Glassman founded this. None of that shit matters, guys. You're not here to show how much jargon you've memorized and to give them the technical breakdown. This is someone who has never done this before, probably has completely skewed understanding. So explain it to them piece by piece in plain English based on the information that you've gotten on them so far about who they are, what they know, what their experience is. So for example, let's just say Steve is a guy who's been going to the Globo gym off and on for years, trains, will go hard for 3 to 6 months and then get distracted with work and fall off the wagon and put on some weight and come back and realize it after, his wife's been making fun of him again and back to the gym. And you guys have heard this story before, super common, right? Maybe you worked with a personal trainer once or twice at, 24 or something like that. This is the type of person you're going to be like, cool. So like I said, you notice, Ronnie, we don't have a lot of the traditional machines because the way that we really approach this program is everything is based on natural human movement, right? So we call that functional movement. And basically that means we just use the body the way it was designed to be used, right? We push, we pull, we hinge, we squat. And so it doesn't actually require a lot of fancy equipment. And what you'll notice is that every day, so you notice how the workout on the board is written up here on the board. So there's part 1, part 2, part 3. Although this looks totally random, we're doing 3 by 3 here and a tempo here. And a lot of people think that CrossFit is this just like, we're just going to do a random different workout every day. There's actually a lot of thought and a lot of energy that goes into what workouts we do in what order. And the beauty of it is that unlike what you were saying you experienced in going to the gym on your own every day, where you really just kind of had to make it up and kind of go off of how you're feeling. And if you're feeling motivated, you might do more. And if not, you're out of there in 30 minutes. You're always coming in for a structured coach-led class. And this is someone who eats, sleeps, and breathes human movement and is there to not just walk you through the workout. Hey guys, this is what we're doing and go for it. They're actually there to work with each and every one of our athletes and making sure that this workout that you see on the board is adjusted around your specific where you're currently at with your fitness. So whether you have a limitation, like I know you said you have a little bit of a shoulder thing from that football injury, then we're going to show you how to work around that and do a scaled version of that, which means we're just going to adapt it to you so you can get the best workout possible. And not to mention that coach is going to take you through a structured warm-up, movement prep, make sure everyone's moving well. And then the best part is because we're doing this in a group, we have a ton of fun because we all work and sweat together. We encourage each other. It's a blast. I can't wait to have you try it. That's how you can explain what it is that we do. Don't get technical. Save that for on-ramp. A lot of people get into this like PowerPoint style presentation on how complicated this is and almost kind of like overwhelming people with the technicality of it. But really remember, plain English, guys, meet them where they're at, grab them by the hand and walk them forward so they actually get it, right? Because the goal after you explain this is for them to go, oh, I got it. That makes a lot of sense. That actually sounds really cool, right? Use examples and specific references that they've already given you just in those first 5 to 7 minutes, right? So at this point, we figured out, where they are, what they've tried, what they liked, what wasn't working for them. Then we had them tell us what they thought CrossFit was so that we know where they're at. Again, we're not getting defensive. We explain what it is that we do in plain English, breaking each piece down and how it benefits them and all that good stuff. So the next thing I like to transition right into is to really dig into what I call the 3 W's. Okay. So this is where I would say something like, all right, so now I know when you reached out, you said your goal was to lose some weight. Back the onion on what it is that they're looking to accomplish, why it's important to them, and then by when they want to accomplish it. So this is my first W, right? So is what is it that you're looking to accomplish? As they tell me a little bit more about that. And so they'll usually give you some sort of kind of surface level answer. Well, who doesn't want to lose the weight? And fair enough, right? Because for most people, they'll accept that answer. We are professionals at what we do. That's not sufficient. So what I try then to dig more is, well, tell me a little bit more about that. Or what does that mean? And I try to get a little bit deeper and figure out what it is that they actually want. Well, I actually want to look good I feel much better about myself. I've put on some pounds since, I've had kids and had a family and I'm sitting at a desk all day. And you want to get a little bit deeper. The next thing I'll ask, once I feel like I actually understand what it is that they want to accomplish, I try to discover why. Well, but understand why that matters to you, and shut up. Let them answer. And when they give you that first answer, ask them again, why and why does that matter? And dig 2, maybe 3 layers, and you're going to have to feel this out. We're not trying to be awkward, to be, make this feel like interrogative or whatever. But what we're really just trying to get to is the real why. And this is so important, because if you let them give you a bullshit answer, the likelihood of them using a bullshit answer to get out of your membership and quit 3 months from now is extremely high. But when you have someone actually get to, and oftentimes for the first time, say out loud the actual reason why they want to lose the weight, and have a real personal conversation with someone, and show that you're not just going to take the BS answer, but instead you really want to actually help, and just say, hey, look, the reason why I'm asking you this is because I want to actually understand your reason for coming in here every day, because that's going to be a big part of actually helping you accomplish this. We're not here to just sell gym memberships and hope nobody shows up. It's the exact opposite. We want to make sure each and every person who trains here with us is actually accomplishing their goals. So I want to make sure I understand what's important to you, so that if you're ever having an off day, or you're feeling like, man, motivation's been off, or it's been a crazy week, that we can have a conversation around what actually matters, to maybe reignite that fire and get your butt back in the gym, right? So we figure out what it is that they want. We figure out why it actually matters to them. And then what we want to then also do is identify when they want to accomplish this by. And this oftentimes will also give you a read on how realistic their goals may be. Because someone may be like, yeah, I've got to lose these extra 30 pounds. And you're like, awesome. Well, when do you want to accomplish that by? And they're like, well, I'm going on a cruise next month. You're like, well, that's not really how this works, right? So it allows you to really manage expectations. And what you want to do also is to be able to get an exact date. The more specific, the better, right? So whether it's like a specific event, like, hey, if I want to, lose the weight by my wedding, or hey, I'm going on that cruise in July, 6 months from now, and I want to lose the weight because I'm going on this cruise with a bunch of buddies from college who somehow managed to stay in shape, and now I'm a fat ass, and I know they're going to tear me to shreds when I go on this thing, and I don't want that to happen. Awesome. Cruises in July, so your friends won't rip on you because you're embarrassed about how you look. Copy that, right? So now you've got a really good kind of a package of why, what, and by when that you're just going to put in your pocket and move on. Don't over address it. Just make sure you understood it and that they hear that you heard it, and then move on. We're going to get back to that and use that information later. So the next piece I'd like to get to is to the movement piece. Now, I trust me when I tell you, I have heard all the reasons why you should do a movement in your intro, or you shouldn't do a workout, or everyone just does the baseline or the super overcomplicated assessment. I'm going to break this down for you guys, because this is probably the second most screwed up part of the intro session that really screws up your conversion. Okay. And it's this. The whole point of this movement piece is to show them that what we do is doable, it's fun, and it works. If you disagree with that, please put a comment in below. I'd love to get into that with you. But at the end of the day, that's really what we're doing, right? We're not just here to scare someone into fitness and to show them a workout. And this is the part I disagree with the most, is when someone puts up, for example, a workout where they're like, okay, so we're going to do on day one, we're going to do this workout, baseline workout, and it's got this and this and this and this. But since you can't do pull-ups, we're going to do this. And since you can't do whatever, or let's just say Helen, right? So since you can't do, it's got a 400-meter run, but I'm going to scale that down to 200 because I know you haven't worked out in a while. And we've got 21 kettlebell swings at this weight, and but the prescribed weight is this, but I'm going to give you something that's more appropriate for you. And although I know that where people are coming from is often the I'm going to show you that I know what I'm doing and what scaling is, you're really missing the point. The point here, and if you've ever seen someone, and the people I've actually seen do this best are the really experienced L1 seminar staff and flow masters and whatnot, when they take someone through their first workout. And what they do, if you'll notice, They don't write a workout on the board and say, this is what we're doing, and then we're going to scale it for everyone. They're just like, all right, everyone come follow me over here. Or they may take the individual and say, all right, come follow me over here. So over there, in your real life, holding back, right? Now, as the coach, you know it's 50 meters out, 50 meters back. So that would be 100 meters. So if let's say we were doing a 400, I would have them go back and forth 4 times. I don't tell them any of that. I say, just go ahead and give me a light jog to the end of the building and back. If they come back and I'm watching them do their quick run and I see, oh, they're really struggling, or this is going to kick their ass in the context of the workout, I'm just going to say, awesome. Okay, from there to back, that we're going to call that 1 round. Cool. So that was about 100 meters. Perfect. Good job. How do you feel? Not too bad, right? Perfect. Right on. Follow me over here. All right. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to grab a kettlebell. Have you worked with a kettlebell before? I thought so. All right, come on, let's grab one of these. Or first time, cool, no sweat. Let's grab this guy right here. You hand them something and you say, cool, let's walk through this real quick. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to stand feet slightly wider than shoulder width apart, chest is up, and we're going to hang a nice hanging position. Teach it. You're just showing them how it goes, and don't show them here. This is how we're going to do, an American swing versus a Russian swing. Again, way too technical. That's not what today is about. It's about taking them through a workout that's going to challenge them, show them what we do that is fun and makes all of this actually seem doable, so that you're not feeding into the, I knew I couldn't do this, or I knew this was dangerous, or I knew this was going to be too hard. You have to realize the unspoken objections that people are coming in loaded with. So what we're trying to do is disarm that by just saying, okay, well, let's grab the kettlebell. Let's go ahead and give me a swing up to eye level. Very good. All right, let me see from the side. Looking really good. Perfect. All right, let's see if we can go a little bit higher all the way up. All right, head through the window. Okay, looking good. Awesome. All right, go ahead and set that down. How did that feel? Pretty light, because you as the coach are seeing, hey, they're moving really well. That way it looks like it was nothing. We can definitely add a little bit more. Say, cool, let's go ahead and try this one. Do a couple of swings, looking great, perfect, set it down. Don't say anything. You are just taking inventory as you're going through this intro. I haven't told them what the workout is yet. I'm just seeing how they move and how they're responding to a micro version of that movement stimulus, and saying, okay, that's how they were doing with the run. Okay, that's how the kettlebell looked. We adjusted that. We picked a weight that was appropriate, because I know in my head maybe that we're shooting for like a 400, a 21, and so on. But then I'm going to say, okay, cool. Come follow me over here. Now, if I'm looking at someone and I'm like, I am pretty damn sure that this person can't do a pull-up, then I'm not going to put them in a position that's going to make them look or feel stupid, inadequate. Instead, so an example, if I'm looking at a dude who's, 30, 40 pounds overweight and tells me he hasn't worked out in 6 months, I'm probably not going to say, hey, and this workout's got X amount of pull-ups each round. Can you do that? Stupid. So instead, I'd say, come on over here. Let's head on over to the rings. And we move over to the rings and we say, cool. So this is called a ring row. Have you done one of these before? Cool. I'll show you. It's really simple to do. All we're going to do, and again, in plain English, show them, cool. So we're going to have our arms nice and straight, body stiff as a board. We're going to have the weight resting on our heels. Arms are fully extended. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull those elbows back, rings to my ribs, keeping the body nice and stiff, and back out. Cool. Nice 45-degree angle. Come on over here and let's try that. Put your feet right here. Let's do a couple reps. And again, you're watching the move and you're like, pretty easy, right? Cool. Let's scoot our feet forward a few steps and see how that feels. Notice that you can feel the difference pretty quickly. Awesome. Give me 5 reps. And you, again, as the coach, are being the professional and seeing, here's how they're moving. Okay, got it. You're thinking maybe I want to get to like a 10 to 15 rep range or whatever. And you're going to choose the angle and say, cool, we're going to mark right here. We're going to put your feet here. So every time we come over here and do this movement, you're going to line your heels up with this line on the mat. And we're going to do, great, let's move on, right? So now you've identified, okay, about the run, about the kettlebell, about the ring row, and you can say, okay, cool. So here's what we're going to do. All right, so remember how we ran to the end of the building and back? I'm going to have you start. You're going to go there and back twice. Once you've gone there and back twice, so 200 meters, we're going to come over and we're going to grab this kettlebell. And just like we did in our practice a couple minutes ago, we're going to keep our position nice and tight, and we're going to get the swing up to just eye level. And you're going to give me 10 good looking swings, right? So every time it comes up to eye level, I'm going to count that as a rep, right? So we're going to make sure we're keeping that good position. If it doesn't quite come up, I'm not going to count it. But that way we can make sure we're only counting the reps that are really looking good. Cool? Awesome. And then once you finish those 10 reps, you're going to set your kettlebell down, nice flat back, and we're going to walk right over here to the rings, and we're going to give me 10 ring rows. Okay, so just like we did, we grab the rings, body stays stiff as a board, and every time that those rings touch your ribs and you come back out, we're going to count that as 1 rep, so 10 reps. So basically what I'm going to do is when I say 3, 2, 1, go, you're going to be a nice, easy pace all the way through. You're going to come back, you're going to do your 10 kettlebell swings, your 10 ring rows, and I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. We're going to see if we can keep a nice, steady pace, and I may speed you up, I may slow you down, I may even swap a weight out, depending on how you're responding to it. Just try to keep a nice steady pace. Just follow my lead as we go. Let's have some fun. You ready to go? Awesome. That's it. The reason I do it this way, and the reason why I highly encourage you to try this out, if you're just compared to like, this is the workout, we're going to scale it, is because it allows people to feel like, oh, I'm going to come in here and of course I can't do the workout. I knew I was out of shape. I knew this was too hard. I knew this was too complicated. Let them feel a win, because at the end of the day, guys, what you're doing with your members every day is exactly that. You want to have them feel a win so that they can be confident in what they're doing. They can move well. It's about doing what's appropriate for them, making that fun, and of course, challenging them. That's what you're there to do as a coach. And then making sure it's always a couple degrees ahead of what would be right? So why would we want to scare the crap out of someone and make someone feel like, I knew I was right, this is too hard, right on day one? Leave a nice impression, give them a good workout, work them exactly how you know you're supposed to, so that they understand, they have a great workout, but they also feel like, I did it. And as soon as that is done, at the end of it, give them a high five, point out something that they did really well, and say, man, I know that was your first time. You said that was your first time using a kettlebell, but by that second round, you were grooving with that, man. Nice job. High five. Okay. And the reason for that is, again, celebrate what they did right. Don't see like, oh man, yeah, I totally see what was going wrong over there. Yeah, you definitely have never done this before. That was terrible, wasn't it? Guys, I know that's sometimes fun, and that's something you can do with people who are more established and whatnot. But when someone's new, remember, we're trying not to scare the crap out of them, right? So high five, point out something that they did right. And this is an opportunity where you've now gotten to know who they are, where they're at, what they've tried, what they liked about it, what wasn't working for them, what they thought CrossFit was. You got to explain it to them in plain English. You got to see them move, and what's important, why, by when they want to accomplish it. So at this point, you have a ton of information. And before we get into prescribing the solution, which is how we're going to close the sale, instead I say, hey, and you know what? I know you said before we got started, you had that old shoulder injury from when you were in college. And that's why we were doing the kettlebell swing to eye level. I wanted to make sure that wasn't bugging you. You know what? Grab one of those green bands. Come follow me over here real quick, and spend 2-3 minutes giving them something specific to do, maybe before or after class, that will help them with either the thing that you noticed, right? Or that they told you about, right? So for example, someone's like, hey, I've got this bum ankle. You can say, hey, you know what? Before you do any sort of a running workout, I want you to come over here. You're going to roll out your foot, or something that's really easy, not complicated. You can show them once and they'll get it. But say, you know what? Here's what I want you to do. Grab one of these green bands, throw it over the rig. We're going to stretch a little bit. You feel that? Awesome. Go ahead and put your arm up. Oh, okay, great. So you see how you're able to get your arm in a little bit better position right there? Feels pretty good, right? So here's what I want you to do. Before class for the next couple of weeks, I want you to come in, grab one of those bands, just like we did there. 30 seconds right side, 30 seconds left side. Do it twice. And once you're able to get that arm up to where you can get that bicep back a little bit closer to your ear, come let me know and I'll give you the next step in the progression. I want to open up a little bit of that range of motion because I know you've got a little bit of limitation in there right now. You're a little stiff still. Cool? And then move on. The point of this is we're trying to show a couple of things. For one, we're trying to show them that I will go off script just based on something that I see to just help you and give you something to do. The second thing we're doing is we're also having them visualize themselves coming into class and doing something that is helping them get better at something that they didn't realize they could necessarily improve, or that you gave them a little trick. And it's allowing them to make more progress on something more quickly, especially when it's something like a nagging injury or something. It has a lot of value for people, okay? And you just prescribe a little something and then move on, okay? Now, a lot of you may say, yeah, but what if they didn't have anything? Like they were fine, they don't have an injury, they didn't tell me anything. When in the very beginning, when you're building rapport with them, it's always a little bit, so, tell me a little bit about yourself, or, so what do you do? And usually I'll do that kind of thing like on the phone call. By the way, I'm assuming you're doing a little bit of a rapport building call before someone's coming in for an intro. Please don't have people just schedule themselves. A lot of people have issues with people actually showing up for that first day and wondering why. It's because you're having them book themselves online. Get them on the phone as quickly as possible after they fill out the lead capture form so that you can start building the relationship. Okay. Anyway, conversation for another day. So if they don't have a specific thing, and I know, like, oh, you said you're an accountant, right? Do they have you guys at standing desks yet? More often than not, the answer is no. So I know that this guy sits at a desk for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. There's probably going to be some tight hips and low back things that I can address really easily. So for that golden nugget, something as simple as a couch stretch and saying, hey, come on over here, follow me to the wall. Let's put an ab mat down. Let's go ahead and try this. And they go up and they're like, holy shit. How many times have you blown someone's mind the first time you put them into that couch stretch? And it will legitimately help them feel better. So here's what I want you to come in and give me a minute each side before class. Do that every day. By the way, the reason we call it a couch stretch, because you can do this at home on your couch. So no excuses. Do this every day for a minute each side. You will notice a big difference in how you're feeling and how you're feeling throughout the day. Hopefully that'll take some of that pressure off of your back. Cool. Move on. Right. So that's kind of an easy golden nugget kind of thing. So anyway, drop the golden nugget, something that you give them something easy and attainable to do. And then move into prescribing the solution. Okay, so the prescribing the solution, this is where you really get to put your coach's hat on. And a lot of times this is where people would think like, oh, I'm going to get panicky. This is where I'm asking. This is basically where you're asking for the sale. Don't look at it that way. Look at it as, now that I've had the opportunity to get to know you, what you've tried, what you understand about what we do, what your goals are, why they matter to you, what your timeline is, so how aggressive we may have to be from frequency and et cetera, or how unrealistic or realistic the goal may be. This is basically where you get to repeat back the 3 W's and get confirmation that you're correct. So just as an example, so Steve says, yeah, I want to lose these 30 pounds by the time I go on that cruise in July. And I want to do that so that I don't get chewed up by my buddies for being the fat guy. Cool. By the way, awesome job in your workout. High five, blah, blah. All right. So let's get into figuring out exactly how we can help you accomplish this. Because I know you said your goal was to lose those 30 pounds by the time you get to your cruise in July, right? And that's, I think, like about 7 months out. It's a December 1st now. So basically exactly 7 months to get you from A to B, right? And this whole thing is so that you don't end up going on this cruise and get torn to shreds by your buddies, right? Fair enough. I can respect that. All right. So here's how we're going to do it. So my suggestion is going to be that we're going to start you out probably about 3-4 days a week to start. And I'm going to give you some basic guidelines on nutrition and 3-4 days a week. And really the game for you for the first 2 months or so is just making sure you get in here. I'll talk about our onboarding program. We're going to teach you all the basics, so don't sweat that. But basically, I want to start you out 3-4 days a week for the first couple of months. And if you can stay into the nutrition, serious traction, especially if you can really dig on the nutrition, you're going to be able to recover better. Don't worry, we make it really simple for you to wrap your head around the whole nutrition thing. I know a lot of people make that really complicated. We've come up with a really simple method for you to get a lot of results pretty easily, quote unquote, in making progress with this. And so the game's going to be 3-4 days a week, first couple of months. If you can stay consistent with that, at that point, we're probably going to take that up to maybe 4 or 5 days a week from your frequency. We'll start looking at maybe scaling some movements up or some intensity up in the workouts. And we keep that up for another, let's say 3-4 months. At that point, if you're on top of your nutrition, there's a really good chance we've already hit your goal and are now in bonus land and able to really start making some progress. So that not only you go on your trip not as the fat guy, but now you're able to go and actually look like, damn, what the hell have you been doing, guy? Would that be considered a win? And have them answer back, because you literally just explained how we're going to do that, what it is that they wanted, and what the outcome is, and the feeling of what that outcome is when they achieve it. And this is you just doing this is, and by the way, this is not your opportunity to bullshit someone and tell them something unrealistic. If it's unrealistic, correct them. Don't be an a-hole about it, but tell them like, hey, look, I know that you said you wanted to lose those 50 pounds in the next 2 weeks, but in our experience, anytime you do anything where you're trying to be that aggressive in a short period of time, and I know that sometimes people will say they've been able to accomplish things like that, the reality is that's actually really bad for our system, and the likelihood of you keeping that weight off is slim to none. because it's just too big of a jump for your body to do. And not to mention there's habits and everything we want to put in place to support that, because I don't want you to just lose the 50 pounds. I want you to lose the 50 pounds, get in the best shape of your life, and be able to make this your new normal, so that your new normal is fit, happy, and healthy, not I'm just trying to keep the weight off. Does that make sense? So you don't have to be aggressive, but you're able to really, again, be a coach, help them understand how we're going to help them do this, and how, in all reality, it isn't that difficult. It is a matter of consistency. It's a matter of putting some basics in place for your nutrition, your recovery. We're going to guide you with all of that. And so we explain exactly what we're going to do. You lay out the specific plan step by step, how are you going to get them to their goal, and explain the onboarding. And what I usually will do is then I'll say, and by the way, because you're new, all of our new athletes start with our, 2-week on-ramp program. These are 3 sessions spread out over 2 weeks, where we're going to teach you not only the fundamentals of the movements that we do in here, but fundamentals of nutrition, recovery, and everything you need to be successful in our group program. I know it may seem like this is all a bunch of crazy jargon, but we've come up with a really simple process to introduce you to all this stuff and show you exactly how you're going to be successful in the program. So, and our coaches will take you through that. And this is where, again, you've now laid out the plan, walked them through your onboarding program. And when it comes to now explaining your membership options, where basically you say, cool, would that be considered a win? Yes, that would be a win. Awesome. Well, since your goal, your cruise is about 7 months out. And again, I'll just use an example. Let's say we had 3, 6, and 12 month membership options at Active. I'd say, okay, cool. Now, since your goal is 7 months out, obviously you can go with any of these options and just renew your 3 or your 6 month option. So, but since we're 7 months out, the 6 or the 12 are going to obviously be your best bet. The 6 month goes for this, the 12 month goes for that. But I know you did say that cost was a factor for you. And so my suggestion in that case would be, since your goal is 7 months out, I would suggest going with the 12-month program over the 6, only because you're going to be able to save a few more bucks, but also really because at the end of the day, I don't want to help you just get to the cruise and, go on your cruise and feel awesome and feel good about yourself. But I want you to be able to go and have a good time on your cruise and let your hair down, because the reality is you're probably going to dip into 1 or 2 all-you-can-eat buffets, which I hope you enjoy yourself while you're out there. But that way, when you get back, we can get right back in gear and keep a good thing going and help you undo any of that cruise awesomeness you enjoyed while you were out there. Does that make sense? And have them understand that I'm not just trying to get you to your goal, and you say something like, and because it also, most of our members end up sticking around for years, right? People who started with us with a 3-month goal are still here 4 years later. So, I have the feeling that you're really going to enjoy this. I had a lot of fun training with you today. I think you're going to really dig the people that we have here. We've got a lot of really good coaches, and just frankly, the members that we have here are incredible people. And I have a feeling that you're going to stick around for a long time. So, which one do you want to go with? And you're not asking them, so what do you think? Or, which 6 or the 12, which one do you want to go with? And at that point, when you've done this well, this is where any objections will come up or questions will come up. So if they're not like immediately like, oh yeah, cool, that makes sense, I'll go with the 12 or I'll go with the 6. This is where oftentimes, and you have to not take this personally, so many people get so offended that people ask these questions, but you have to understand they have been conditioned when they feel like they are in a sales environment to have to at least try to give you some sort of an objection or question, or so tell me about this. But if you've done a good job being personable, caring, showing them a good time, giving them a great workout, talking about what's important to them, relating with them about that, helping them see a clear path on what it is that we do, how that applies to them, and how we exactly are going to get them from where they are today and where they want to go. Question at this. And if not, they're going to be an actual objection that you can just address honestly. It's not just the like, so what's the difference between you and the guy down the street? A lot of those objections, I'm talking the majority of those, will be gone because you've already decommoditized yourself by making it about their goal and their why. That's the whole point of this. If you just take someone through something that feels like a templated experience, then they're going to compare you to the other templated experience. But if you take them through something that feels really personal, really individualized, that you care about them, you're legitimately trying to get to know them, what's important to them, and helping them actually understand what we do and how it applies to them, someone's going to feel a lot more taken care of and far more likely to make a better decision at that point. Okay. So objections and all that, if you guys have some good ones or good ways to overcome some good ones, even if you've got a great sales process in place, we can get into that here in a second with the questions. But I wanted to kind of close on this here before we got into live Q&A. Post-conversion, at that point, when someone's like, cool, I'll go with the 12, congratulate them on making a great decision. I'm excited to help you accomplish your goal. And at this point, don't just rush into, well, here, quick, sign up and go. Of course, yeah, take the money, get them set up right away. But this is also a really good time when they say, all right, let's do it. Between you saying, cool, let me help you get set up. All right, cool, come follow me over here, or you pull out the iPad or whatever you're using. What I like to do is I like to have my key policies, so hold policy, cancellation policies specifically, as something that I'm going to go over verbally and have them initial. And usually what I like to do is I would kind of make this our like gym rules or our core policies and just have 4 or 5 things top. So it's not just the holding cancellation policy, but something like, hey, be respectful, show up on time. If you're late to class, we have a 5-minute rule, or if you're not here exactly when class starts, someone's on a wait list can jump in, or you got to do 5 burpees, whatever. Just the things that are going to matter right away. And just say, here, this, if you ever have an injury or anything's nagging you, it's never an inconvenience. Come to your coach, let them know. That way we can make an adjustment of the workout for you. More often than not, the things that you're feeling or like, hey, that elbow's kind of bugging me, is something that we can work around really easily. This is what we do all day, every day, is help people with movement. So it's never an inconvenience. Cool, initial. All right, by the way, if you ever need to put your membership on a temporary hold, we offer a 30-day hold option. We just ask for a 5-day notice. There's a form on our website for you to fill out whenever you want to do that. And that way we can process it. Does that make sense? Cool. Awesome. And if for any point in time you decide, hey, you know what, I'm sick and tired of being fit and feeling awesome and looking amazing, and you want to cancel your membership, then we simply ask for, and then explain it. We ask for a 30-day notice and, blah, 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 blah. Does that make sense? Does that make fair? Or is that fair? And get them to verbally, as a person, acknowledge you, person to person, initial that. And then you can say, awesome, cool. Hey, let's do it. Let's get you set up. The reason why this is a key time to do this is because they're like, all right, cool, let's do this. I'm feeling good. I'm psyched. You celebrate that. And you're able to address that when they're in that peak emotional state, to give them something really important that, as you guys know, holding cancellation issues are a huge problem in our business model. And so this is something you want to be able to address, not just by burying it in a contract and saying, hey, you signed the contract, and if you would have read the fine print, you would have seen that it's a 30-day notice and that there's a cancellation penalty. Don't be an asshole. Be transparent. Give someone all that information up front. Be a person and say, does that make sense? Is that fair? Cool. If not, here, I can explain it to you. Does it make sense now? Awesome. Cool. Initial here. Great. Here's our whole waiver for membership, or they sign it digitally or whatever, and schedule their first day. Let them know what to expect next. Hey, cool. Let's get you scheduled for your first day of onboarding. Here's the details and things you can expect. You're going to be receiving an email with logins or access to our private group, etc. So cool. All right, guys. So that's the process. For someone who's brand new to CrossFit, that structure can be played with and manipulated, but a really good place to start if you're not feeling like a rock star when it comes to sales, or maybe this is still something you're trying to improve on. Just take this exactly as it is and commit to rehearsing it, or not rehearsing it, to using it 10 times without change. Take notes. How did this feel? And so on for yourself, but stick to the script exactly 10 times. And after those 10 intros, you're able to say, okay, cool, I'm going to kind of tweak this part, or I feel like I'm able to say this a lot better. Do not use this 1 or 2 or 3 times and be like, it doesn't work. This is bullshit. This is something you're going to have to practice. And I tell you this right now, like I said in the beginning, this is so making sure that you're asked the opportunity to actually understand how you can help them and if you're a good fit, so that they can make a good decision that could very well change their life permanently. Okay, so take that, process that. For those of you who are like, yeah, but Markus, what do I do about someone who's experienced with CrossFit? Obviously taking them through this kind of thing and talking about what is CrossFit isn't going to make sense. Very good point. For people who are experienced, this is actually, in our industry, a huge missed opportunity most of the time is that most gym owners that I've seen will say, oh, your experience, how long have you been doing CrossFit? Oh, 3 years. Awesome. Just come in and try a class. Tell me why that someone who's experienced, who you don't have to explain why what we do matters, and like that, this is, you're getting to skip a big process. And I want to an opportunity for you to do the exact same kind of thing like you just did for that person who is brand new to CrossFit. For someone who's experienced, get the opportunity to figure out where they're at, what matters to them, where did you train before, what did you like about your previous gym, what's something that you're looking for in your new gym. Great. Were you doing individualized training, or have you just been following like a GPP program? Are you training for anything in particular? When you get to the movement piece, take them through something a little bit more comprehensive. For someone who's experienced, I would take them through a more formal movement assessment. We would take them through a kind of a variation of the old OPT or OPEX new athlete assessment, checking push, pull, squat, hinge, a little bit of work capacity training, throw an empty bar in their hand, take them through a Bergner, see how they move, and spend a little bit more time. And these would often take me more than 60 minutes. But guess what? The reason why I would do this is, one, when you take them through a killer first experience, rather than just saying, try a class. And by the way, you can always let them try a class after and just say, hey, I just wanted to really take the opportunity to get to see you move and get to know you a little bit, because what we do here isn't just running people through classes like a mill. We really care about our members and making sure each and every one of you achieve your goals. And obviously you've got a rich background in this. So I want to make sure that we can meet you where you're actually at and help you get through the next stretch of your fitness goals and progress and all that. People will really respect that. Not to mention, you have someone who then, first of all, is far more likely to set up. But the side effect I liked best was that person would then go into your classes, because let's say they're, by the time they get into a class, all of a sudden they see someone new in there who's snatching up, 185, and they're like, wait a minute, who the hell is this guy? Like, hey, are you new here? Oh yeah, I actually just started here last week. This is my second class or whatever. Obviously, hopefully you're introducing people in the beginning of class if they're new, but someone's going to see them and be like, damn, man, you can really move. That was a great lift. Hey, thanks. Where did you train before? And as you guys have all seen, your members will start to kind of qualify this person and try to learn a little bit about them. And when you've knocked their socks off, what I used to pride myself in hearing was when that person would say, yeah, man, and I found this place. This is an amazing gym. Like I dropped in at like 3 other boxes and they just had me try a class, and I came in and I did this like killer assessment with Markus, and we talked about goals and like what I'm trying to focus on. You guys run a killer gym here. You guys are lucky. What this does is it reinforces to your existing members that they are on the right team, that they make a good decision by being part of this. It makes them proud of being a part of this, because they're like, yep, you're right. This is a killer box. And it creates a lot of pride when someone new comes in and is like, I've tried other places. This place is the shit. You're lucky. It makes them feel like they're really a part of something special. And that provides a lot of value for people, especially people who are in that first like 6 to 12 months and they're really just starting to figure things out. A lot of value in that. So other than that, all the other principles in the framework, literally just adjusting the language like I was doing in the beginning, is exactly the same prescription close. And the difference here is really going to be, hey, and you know what? Because a lot of times, just like myself, I'd like to try a class. I'd say, and you know what? Before I ask you to make a commitment, obviously, if you're ready to rock and roll, we can get you set up. But I'd love to have you just try a class and see what you think. That way you can really get a feel for our community and see if we're a good fit. Does that sound like a plan? Not only have you now shown them a great experience and that you care about where they're at, who they are, their goals, seeing them move, you're able to again give them good feedback. That golden nugget now after an assessment for someone who's moving well, you can actually get into something high level. Oh, looks like we can really work on that pull. I noticed your shoulder was a little off when you were doing those that Bergner with the bar. Let's try something over here real quick, right? And you're able to again demonstrate value beyond and going off the script. And then helping them really see that this is going to be something different here. Okay. So that said, let's jump to questions here. See if we've got any in the queue here already. Oh, all right, cool. We do. Let me see here from Gloucester Strength. This is perfect timing. Had some troubles with cancellations over the last couple of days. No clarity on cancellation policy. Thanks, bro. Scott, you're welcome. Todd Weiss says, I did an incentive that if they come 3 times a week every month for 3 months, I will give them a small discount. This has helped the new person get to the I'm all in phase. Yeah, you can play all sorts of games. I'd probably stay away from actually like incentivizing someone monetarily as much as saying like, hey, and if you can keep your attendance at, attendance was a big challenge for you. Like make it something like that rather than saying, I'll give you a discount. Guys, we have to get out of the mindset of discounting our services every chance that we get. I'd rather keep the price the same and just add more value rather than take money away. Because at the end of the day, you do have a business you have to run, and you don't want it to be that so people who are doing a better job and taking more advantage of your service are getting a bigger discount, as much as like you need to be able to support the business and provide better experience. Let me see here. Question from Louis Sika. So if someone brings in a referral the same day before being able to set up a consult, how would you handle this with the sales process? Still do it the same day or schedule a separate day to find out more about them and their goals? Really good question. So this is really, for one, that if you're really adamant, if you have a one-on-one intro process, all roads have to lead to that. And so if someone's like, hey, can I bring a friend into class today? Obviously, you're probably thinking like, man, that would be really awesome. That's an opportunity. And you say, you know what? We do a one-on-one with people so that we can really get to know them. We want to make sure that we can address any limitations or injuries. Plus, I really just want to get to know everyone who comes in. So we do a one-on-one process. If you wouldn't mind, can you give me their number and I'll just give them a call and get them set up rather than bringing them in. But if someone just brings someone in that referral the same day and just shows up, they're like, hey, it's my buddy Steve. I thought he'd come and work out with us today. Ideally, or either way, I'm still going to get that person into a one-on-one intro because I still want that same opportunity. However, whether or not they're going to take the class that day, it's going to need to be a personal call on your part. If I look at the workout and I'm like, we're doing snatch balance today and handstand push-ups or whatever, something that is clearly way over the head of someone who's brand new, I'm going to say, hey, you know what? I'm sorry. I know you came in today. I think what would be a little bit better because we have all of our new athletes go through a one-on-one first, so I can really get a chance to see you move and make sure there aren't any injuries or limitations. Because the last thing I'd want you to do is to just jump into a class and tweak yourself or something like that. So here's actually what I'm going to have you do. If you want to watch so-and-so train today, then what I would suggest you do is let's grab an assault bike here. You can join us for the warm-up and for part 1 or whatever. I'm going to have you ride on this assault bike or something that takes no coaching. Don't do something where you're going to like, hey, jump on a rower. Oh shit, you don't know how to do a rower. I'm going to spend 5 minutes with you and do that. That's not going to serve anyone. You don't want them to see you taking away from a class for them either. Say, hey, okay, well, I'm going to run this class. I'm going to have you do this. I'm going to see that bike over here. When I cue you and I say, bike, I want you to just head over there. I'm going to help you get set up here real quick before class and we're good to go. And just let your friend, the member know, say, hey, usually we have all people come in through the intro session so that I can get to know them. So in the future, if you have someone you want to bring in, obviously I'd love to have them come in and get to know them and get your buddies working out with you in here. But just let me know ahead of time so that way I can schedule a one-on-one. And if they dig the one-on-one, we can always get them in the program and get them in class with you ASAP. Is that fair? Right? So that's an easy way to overcome that. So let me see here. You offer 3 sessions per week or unlimited. And question here from Scott about membership structure, offering 3 times a week versus unlimited only. That's a conversation for another day because that's going to require a lot more explanation. But I'll give you the short answer. I'm not a fan of the limited amount of sessions versus unlimited, simply because we all know that even if someone actually showed up 3 days a week and was on point with their nutrition and perfect intensity and movement in every workout, they're still barely going to make progress at 3 days a week relative to how hard they're working and how much they're paying compared to, let's say, a global gym membership, which is what most people compare it to. So we usually just end up shooting ourselves in the foot because people aren't getting the results they want. They're only saving like $10 a month for the 3 time a week versus an unlimited or something nominal anyway. And you're literally making it impossible for them at that price point. They're just being a cheap ass and you're playing into that and letting them choose the cheaper option just because there's a cheaper option, and then now by default are not able to get the results. So personally, and this is totally a preference thing, there are applications where this kind of thing can totally make sense. Or you can use it as kind of like a backup plan for members who are, struggling a bit and they're like, hey, I'm having a hard time coming in. I can't justify it. It's something you can always make some maybe special arrangement if so, but I'm not a fan personally. But again, conversation for another day. Question from Joel says, kind of along the same lines as the last questions from Lewis, but how would you maybe structure this for a bring a friend day? So bring a friend day, that is a really powerful tool. I'm actually a bigger fan of like a friends and family week, where you can actually give them the opportunity to come in more than just one time. The problem with the bring a friend day is that usually you're going to have, if you promote it properly, which I hope you do, see the perceived value strategy episode I did a few weeks back on how to properly promote pre, intra, and post. But the problem with a single day is that it's either a dud and people see that, man, this was kind of lame because you didn't promote it well, or if you did your job right, you're going to have like 60 people in one class and there's nothing personal about that at all. You don't really get to know everyone. So instead, I'd rather create like a fully deloaded week where the workouts are going to have team workouts and, workouts where it's something I can teach a beginner in one pass. And it gives you more time to actually really build a relationship with people. So if you're asking bring a friend day versus whatnot, I would say do a week instead. Well, we can get into that in another episode. I'll really break that down because that's a really effective method for getting new people in the door. Sales objection. Money seems expensive. How would you handle that? Well, frankly, if it says seems expensive, you didn't do a good job of getting to their why. Because as soon as you're able to help someone understand that what we're going to do here is I'm not selling you a gym membership. We're here to help you lose those 30 pounds so that you can actually go on your vacation, feel good about yourself. Not to mention your wife's going to be more stoked about how how you're looking. Because I know you said that you're tired of her busting your chops about that too. You're going to feel better. You're going to be more confident. When you're able to make this about someone's actual, like what they're actually going to get out of this, and they're going to go, oh yeah, that's what this is about, then the money thing shouldn't be an issue. And if someone does say, well, it seems expensive, I would say, well, compared to what? Ask them, what are they comparing it to? And don't do it in a way that you're being an a-hole, but be just honest. Like, well, what are you comparing this to? Because if you're comparing this to a 24-hour fitness membership where you just come and go as you please, there's no coach-led classes, there's no method to what workout you're doing, what day, there's no accountability, there's no one following up with you if you don't show up, there's no workshops like we do here, there's no structured warm-up, there's no working around your injury. I know you said that shoulder injury keeps being an issue. Why do you think that's an issue? It's because you're just going in and doing your thing. You don't have a professional making sure that you're making adjustments based on how you're feeling and how that shoulder's behaving, and what the impact of today's workout could be on that shoulder, to make sure you have a safe and effective workout every single day so that you can actually make that no longer be a problem. That would be how it would overcome like a seems expensive thing if they're comparing to a global gym. Or if you say it may be a little bit more appropriate if you're comparing it to something like personal training, because basically what we do is personal training in a small group environment. Now, for me personally, I charge X amount of dollars per hour. I charge $75 an hour for each one-on-one 60-minute session that I do. You're able to come in here basically 6 days a week. We have classes 6 days a week. I know for you, I say start 3-4 days a week, but we're going to build up to 5 days a week, maybe 6 days a week. And that would cost you about $1,500 a month to do that one-on-one with me and to get that kind of attention, to make sure we're adjusting the workout exactly for you and so on. But the beauty of this program and doing it in a group environment is that you get to get the economy of scale of us working with a group of 15 athletes, where I'm still going to get to know you. We only have a handful of coaches that legitimately know our athletes, know what this is about. And something's ailing you, come in and let us know so we can make the adjustment for you. And you get personal attention, you get that accountability, you get guidance with your nutrition, except now you get to do it at basically the cost of like 2 personal training sessions. Not so bad, right? So it's really just about framing it up around what they're comparing it to. And usually the money objection is one of the easiest ones to overcome. And again, if you're getting the money objection frequently, you need to take a look at the first 80% of this intro session and make sure you're doing a better job of connecting with them personally about what matters to them, why it matters to them, and helping them understand what we do and how it's actually going to solve that particular problem. Cool? All right, let's see here. Good. Okay, good, Lewis. I'm glad that was able to address that for you. Cool, guys. If you have any more questions, get them in for me. We're already over an hour here, so I'm starting to run a little slim on time, but get another question in if you got it. And if not, we'll be wrapping up here in a second. But while you guys get any of those in here real quick, like I said to you guys before, oftentimes we may not be in a position yet to where we can just do one-on-ones with people or it's like, hey, I'm a one man or one woman show. I don't have that luxury or whatever the reason is. Take the lessons from what we discussed today. And at very least, if you're like, hey, I've just got to have people like join a class today, that I've seen that work very successfully too. But the reason it's been successful is because the coach or the owner takes the time to actually do a lot of this stuff before they come in and start that class. So if I know, hey, I don't have time to do a 60-minute one-on-one with everyone who wants to try us out, but I know it's important to get to know who they are, what they've experienced, what they liked about their previous program, what they're looking for, what matters to them, why are they here, and so on. I'm going to have that whole conversation with them over the phone. Is it as good as face-to-face? No, it's not. But is it better than not doing any of that shit and just getting someone, oh, sure, come on in. What class do you want to come to? 5:30? Great. See you there. Show up 5 minutes early to sign a waiver. Give me a break, guys. What we're doing is way beyond all that. And you need to still do these things, build that relationship. So when they show up, you're like, cool, Markus, is that you? Right on, man. Hey, so nice to finally get to meet you in person. I feel like I already know you. All right, cool. So I sent you that waiver. Did you get a chance to fill that out before you came in? Perfect. Let me introduce you around here. I'm going to show you, give you the lay of the land. You can put your stuff over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to meet over at that whiteboard. There's going to be a bunch of us aggregating over there. I'm going to explain what we're going to do. Just follow along. The key is I'm going to actually probably stand towards the back of the group, whether it's in the beginning or through the warm-up. That way you can kind of follow along with what's going on. If you ever feel lost, don't sweat it. I've got my eye on you. I'll be making sure you're taken care of. Just shoot me a look. I'll come over and I'll adjust you in the little transitions. I don't go more than 5 minutes or 7 minutes before I break the group up, and then I can come and engage and help you out. So if you feel lost, don't sweat it. Cool? Awesome. Right on. Like, do all of those things that we talked about, and connecting and making them feel taken care of, and saying, I'm going to, talk about a workout. We're going to, that, and you may not clean this or anything. Them feel taken care of so that they're actually going to feel like, oh, wow, this is really personal. This is really adapted to me and not what they're expecting or people have said about these kinds of programs. Cool. All right, guys. Well, then on that note, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope today was helpful for you. If you have any friends or gym owner friends that you think would benefit from this, or team members, feel free to tag them in the comments below. And if you have questions, or you're watching this and it's after the fact and it's no longer live, feel free to please just tag me in a question in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer the question for you. Cool. All right, guys, have yourself a great weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for being a part of the network, and I will see you next week.